8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Danushka Madhawala and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. War Heroes Commemoration Flag pinned on President. The second meeting of the Sri Lanka-UK Strategic Dialogue to be held in Colombo. Imports and exports within the first quarter of this year indicate a significant increase. The Industry Expo 2024 exhibition will be held in the month of June. State Minister of Investment Promotion leads Sri Lankan delegation to Germany's Hanover Messe 2024. In foreign news, Gazans begin leaving Rafah after Israel tells 100,000 to evacuate. In sports news, Sri Lanka, Scotland qualify for the Women's T20 World Cup. In a declaration of War Heroes Commemoration Month, the National War Heroes flag was pinned on President Ranil Wickremesinghe this morning at the Presidential Secretariat. Chairman of the Ranavira Seva Authority, Major General Nishanta Manage, retired, presented the Ranavira flag to the President. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Annually, the month of May is officially designated as War Heroes Commemoration Month, serving as a solemn tribute to the valiant soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of the nation's territorial integrity during the protracted 3-decade-long conflict. A considerable number of servicemen from the tri-forces made the ultimate sacrifice for the country, while an equivalent number suffered injuries in the ongoing struggle against terrorism. Each year, marking the commencement of the Ranaviru month, the National War Hero flag is ceremonially pinned to the esteemed President by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces during the first week of May. The President of the Ranaviru Seva Authority also presented President Ranil Wickremesinghe with a model plaque of the Ranaviru flag. The second meeting of the strategic dialogue between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom is scheduled to be held in Colombo tomorrow at the senior officials level. The meeting will review developments in foreign and security policies as well as progress in the areas of bilateral engagement, including trade, investment, tourism, climate change, environment protection, migration, maritime cooperation, among others. The meeting will also take stock of cooperation by the two countries at the international fora, including at the United Nations and Commonwealth. At the second strategic dialogue, the Sri Lanka delegation will be led by Director General Europe and North America of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Shobhini Gunasekara. The UK side will be led by Director, India and Indian Ocean Directorate at Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, Ben Miller. State Minister Ranjit Siyamalapitiya says that imports and exports within the first quarter of this year show a significant increase in comparison to the imports and exports during the same period of last year. Imports have increased by 12.9%, while exports marked an increase of 5.7%. Export of consumer goods record an increase of 16.8%. The State Minister further pointed out that this is an indication of the development of the national economy as per the plans of the government, focusing on production, tourism and investments. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, and we continue with local news. Minister of Industries and Health Dr. Ramesh Pathiran announced that the forthcoming Industry Expo 2024 will grace the Bandaranayake Memorial International Conference Hall from the 19th to the 23rd of next month under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Additionally, the minister highlighted the debut of the inaugural international conference alongside the prestigious Industry Green Award ceremony aimed at fostering a culture of sustainable practices within the industry. Minister Ramesh Pathiran made these remarks while addressing a media briefing at the Presidential Media Centre held today under the theme, Collective Path to a Stable Country. A delegation led by State Minister of Investment Promotion Dilum Amanugama participated in the Hanover Messe 2024 in Hanover, Germany last month. This was the first time that Sri Lanka had officially participated in the Hanover Messe, which is considered to be the world's leading industrial trade fair. This year's edition of Handover Mess was held from the 22nd to the 26th of April 2024 and was attended by more than 130,000 visitors from 150 countries. 4,000 exhibiting companies, 300 startups and over 300 economic and political delegations from all over the world. State Minister Amanugama's visit to Hanover Mess focused on creating awareness in Germany about investing in Sri Lanka, exploring opportunities for Sri Lankan businesses and strengthening economic relations with Germany. And that ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The plant and quarantine service was limited to Colombo so far. Because of this, the people of the north, east, south and central provinces had to come to Colombo to get plant quarantine services. Therefore, they have to spend a lot of money, time and effort to get the quarantine services. The people had complained to the Presidential Secretariat that they were in great difficulty to send, especially plants and plant-related products, to foreign countries through the postal service. Paying attention to this situation, the Presidential Secretariat opened 3 new regional centres to expand the plant quarantine service at the regional level as per the instructions of the Honourable President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Accordingly, in addition to the Colombo General Post Office, these branches were previously opened in the Jaffna and Kandy Post Offices.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
We now take a look at watchlight. The temperature felt on the human body is expected to increase up to extreme caution level at some places in the northern, north central, northwestern and eastern provinces and in the Monaragala district. The Met Department said the temperature is expected to increase up to caution level at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces and in the Matale district. Authorities warn people to stay hydrated and take breaks in the shade as often as possible, check up on the elderly and the sick, and not to leave children unattended. Limited strenuous outdoor activities, find shade and stay hydrated and wear lightweight and white or light-colored clothing. And now we take a look at world news. First, the headlines. Gazans begin leaving Rafah after Israel tells 100,000 to evacuate. 7 dead in attack on Russia's Belgorod region. Lord of the Rings cast pay tribute to Bernard Hill, who has died aged 79. Palestinians have begun leaving parts of eastern Rafah in Gaza after Israel urged 100,000 people to move towards an expanded humanitarian zone. It comes ahead of an expected offensive on the city where more than 1.4 million people are sheltering. The IDF says it is a limited scope operation and not a wide-scale evacuation of eastern Rafah, adding that evacuees will be directed to tent cities in Khan Yunis and Al-Mawasi. A Hamas official called the evacuation orders a dangerous escalation. It comes as the latest ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas have stalled. Israeli strikes in Rafah reportedly killed at least 12 people overnight, while 4 Israeli soldiers were killed in Hamas rocket attacks near the Karem Shalom crossing. The war began when Hamas fighters stormed into southern Israel on the 7th of October, killing about 1,200 people and seizing 252 hostages. According to Israeli tallies, more than 34,700 people have been killed in Gaza since then, the Hamas-run health ministry says. 7 people have been killed and at least 35 injured in an air attack on Russia's Belgorod region on the border with Ukraine. The regional governor blamed Ukrainian forces for the strike, which he said was carried out with drones and hit minibuses transporting workers to a meat production facility, as well as a private car. The governor said several other locations in Belgorod region had also come under attack in the last 24 hours, with residential buildings damaged. The Belgorod region has often been targeted by Ukrainian forces since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The deadliest strike so far occurred in December when a drone and rocket attack killed 25 people and wounded another 100 in the city of Belgorod. The cast of The Lord of the Rings have paid tribute to their co-star Bernard Hill, who has died aged 79. The actor who played King Theoden in Peter Jackson's trilogy passed away early on Sunday morning. Elijah Wood, Billy Boyd, Dominic Monaghan and Sean Astin, who played the four hobbits in the film, said goodbye to their funny, gruff, beautiful friend. They told Comic-Con fans in Liverpool they had lost a family member. Hill had been due to appear in Merseyside event but had pulled out. To end this bulletin of world news, headlines again. Gazans begin leaving Rafah after Israel tells 100,000 to evacuate. Ukraine, Brandy and Evie's top agenda on Z's offensive. 7 dead in attack on Russia's Belgorod region. And that ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Asia, Robert Caproth, said that maintaining Sri Lanka's ongoing economic reforms was vital to prevent future crises. He made these remarks at a bilateral engagement held with State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe in Tbilisi on the sidelines of the ADB 57th annual meetings held in Georgia. The progress of debt restructuring was discussed at length, and the Deputy Assistant Secretary said that the United States of America will give maximum support to Sri Lanka. The importance of continuation with the reforms was also highlighted.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka survived a scare against the United Arab Emirates on Sunday to secure the last place at this year's Women's T20 World Cup after Scotland also booked a spot at the tournament. In the second semi-final of the global qualifying event in Abu Dhabi, Sri Lanka posted 149 for 6 batting first, with Vishmi Gunaratne top scoring with 45. Sri Lanka, 7th in the world T20 rankings, were in trouble for much of the UAE's chase, but the hosts fell away after dismissal of captain Esha Oza for 44 balls 66, finishing on 134 for 7 to lose by 15 runs. And that was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Xi Jinping has hailed new vistas in China's relationship with France on his first trip to Europe in 5 years, one that feels much like a charm offensive. Mr. Xi will be looking to avert the trade war that is looming with Brussels, driven by fears of cheap Chinese electric vehicles entering the European market. The West also accuses China of helping Vladimir Putin wage war in Ukraine by supplying technology and equipment for the Russian military. Both issues echo Washington's words of warning to him in recent weeks, but it is not what Mr. Xi wants his own people or indeed those in France to hear. Instead, he is trying to win over the French and bolster China's influence in Europe to counter any narrative coming from the United States.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Australia's biggest airline, Qantas, has agreed to pay a $100 million Australian dollar penalty to settle a legal case accusing it of selling thousands of tickets for flights it had already cancelled. Under the deal with the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, the firm will also launch a plan worth up to $20 million Australian dollars to compensate affected passengers. Qantas Chief Executive Vanessa Hudson said the move represented an important step towards restoring confidence in the national carrier.
Weather Report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. An enhancement of showery conditions over most parts of the island is expected during the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Gaul, Matara, Mannar, Vavuniya and Mullaitivu districts after 2 p.m. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the northwestern, north central and Uva provinces during the afternoon or at night. A few showers may occur over the coastal areas from Puttalam to Gaul via Colombo during the morning hours. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. War Heroes Commemoration Flag pinned on President. The second meeting of the Sri Lanka-UK Strategic Dialogue to be held in Colombo. Imports and exports within the first quarter of this year indicate a significant increase. The Industry Expo 2024 exhibition will be held in the month of June. State Minister of Investment Promotion leads Sri Lankan delegation to Germany's Hanover Mess 2024. In foreign news, Gazans begin leaving Rafah after Israel tells 100,000 to evacuate. In sports news, Sri Lanka, Scotland qualify for Women's T20 World Cup. And that ends tonight's news broadcast. The time reads 9:01. This is Radio Sri Lanka.